The lights of Nexus Station burned bright against the darkness of space. Ships from hundreds of worlds docked at its massive ports. Inside the station's metal halls, aliens of every shape and size walked together. Some had scales, others had fur, some walked on 2 legs, others crawled on many. But they all came here for one thing: to watch death in the arena. Kong. Daeho wiped the sweat from his face as he fixed another broken pipe. The maintenance tunnels under the station were hot and dirty. Most people never saw these dark places. That was how he liked it. Down here, nobody asked questions about the human with one arm. Nobody cared about his past. He was 42 years old, but he looked older. His black hair had gray streaks. Deep lines marked his face. His left sleeve was pinned up where his arm should be. The other arm was strong from years of hard work. His dark eyes saw everything but showed nothing. Above his head, the crowd was getting loud. Another fight was starting in the arena. Daeho did not look up. He had seen enough death for one lifetime. A young voice called out. He turned to see Park Ji-woo running toward him. The boy was 25 but looked younger. He worked in the communications center, sending messages between ships and stations. His face was always bright and happy. It made Daeho feel old. "What do you want, Ji-woo?" Daeho asked. He went back to his work. "Did you hear? They caught someone trying to steal from the betting house." "Ba Ziktar is really angry." Daeho said. "Nothing." Boss Ziktar was the crime lord who ran most of the illegal business on the station. He was an insect-like alien with 4 arms and cold black eyes. Most people were afraid of him. "They say he might put the thief in the arena," Ji-woo said. His voice was worried. Daeho's hand stopped moving. "Who was it? I don't know his name. Just another human who got into debt." There were not many humans on Nexus Station. Most aliens saw humans as weak. They were soft compared to the big predators from other worlds. Humans could not breathe poison gas like the Orcs. They could not crush steel with their hands like the Kran. They could not move faster than the eye could. See, like the shadow people of Nex, in the arena, humans usually died quickly. The crowd above them roared. Something exciting was happening in the fight. "Come on," Ji-woo said. "Let's go watch. Maybe we can see Vorthok fight." Vorthok was the champion of the arena. He was 12 feet tall and covered in dark green scales. His teeth were like knives. His claws could cut through metal. He came from a world where his people hunted everything else. For 3 years, he had never lost a fight. He had never even been hurt badly. The aliens loved him because he was what they expected. He was a perfect killer. He showed no mercy. He felt no fear. When he killed, he did it with pleasure. "I have work to do," Daeho said. "You always have. Work to do. Don't you want to see no?" Gu looked hurt, but he left. Daeho was alone again in the tunnels. That was how he wanted it. Up there, people screamed for blood. Down here, it was quiet. But the quiet did not last long. Heavy footsteps came down the tunnel. Daeho looked up to see 3 large aliens walking toward him. They wore the red marks of Ziktar's gang. The biggest one was a Herc, 8 feet tall, with gray skin like stone. The other 2 were Vorth, with their poison-breathing mouths covered by masks. "You are Kong Daeho?" the Herc asked. "Yes." "Boss wants to see you." Daeho put down his tools. "What for?" "You ask too many questions, human." They walked through the station's halls. Aliens moved out of their way. Everyone knew Ziktar's people were dangerous. They passed shops selling food from a dozen worlds. They passed bars where aliens drank and gambled. They passed the medical center where Choi So-min worked. So Dash Min was the only human doctor on the station. She was 30 years old with kind eyes and gentle hands. She fixed the fighters after their matches. She also helped anyone else who got hurt and could not pay the expensive alien doctors. Daeho sometimes brought her supplies that fell off cargo ships. She saw him walking with the gang members. Her face showed worry, but she could not help him now. They went up to the high levels of the station. Here, the halls were cleaner. The lights were brighter. Rich aliens lived here. This was where Ba Ziktar had his office. The office was big and dark. Red lights made everything look like it was covered in blood. Ziktar sat behind a large desk. His forearms moved as he counted money. His black eyes looked at Deho like, "He was a bug," Sitsiktar said. His voice sounded like grinding metal. Deho sat in the chair across from the desk. The gang members stood behind him. "You know why you are here?" Sitsiktar asked. "No. Someone has been stealing from my operations, taking supplies, selling information, making me lose money." Deho said nothing. "The thief is human, like you." "There are other humans on this station?" "Yes, but none of them have access to the places where things have been stolen. None of them know how to move through the station without being seen." Ziktar stood up. He was not as tall as some aliens, but he was scary in other ways. His forearms could move in ways that confused the eye. His mandibles clicked when he was angry. "You owe me money, human, a lot of money. I don't owe you anything." "But you do." Ziktar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "The supplies you have been taking, the power you use in those tunnels, the air you breathe, all of it belongs to me. And I charge interest." Deho felt cold. This was a trap. Ziktar was making up debts to force him into something. "How much?" Deho asked. 50,000 credits? It was impossible. Deho made maybe 1,000 credits a month. Even if he worked for 50 years, he could not pay that much. "I can't pay that." "I know." "So you will work it off in the arena." The words hit Deho like a punch. "Humans did not survive there. I'm not a fighter, you are now. Tomorrow night, you fight Vorthok. If you win, your debt is paid. If you lose..." Ziktar shrugged. "Well, dead humans do not owe money." The gang members laughed. To them, this was funny. A one-armed human against the greatest killer in the galaxy. But Deho did not show fear. He had faced worse odds before, in places these aliens had never dreamed of. He stood up slowly. "Fine," he said. "But I want something in return." Ziktar looked surprised. "You want something? You're about to die? And you make demands?" "Fight. I want the other human debt prisoners freed." "What other prisoners? The ones you keep in the cells? The ones who cannot pay what you say they owe?" Ziktar thought about this. "If you somehow win, yes. But you will not win. Vorthok has never lost. He has killed bigger things than you. We'll see." As Deho left the office, he felt eyes watching him. Soon word would spread through the station. The one-armed human was going to fight the champion. People would bet on how long he would last. Most would say less than 1 minute. They had never seen what a human soldier could do when he had nothing left to lose. Walking back through the halls, Deho thought about his old life. The missions behind enemy lines. The soldiers who had trusted him to bring them home. The last battle, where he had failed them all. Tomorrow night, in front of thousands of aliens, he would face the greatest predator in the galaxy. Everyone expected him to die quickly and quietly, like prey should. They were about to learn that humans were different from other prey. They were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the universe was someone who had already lost everything. The arena lights would burn bright tomorrow, and for the first time in years, Vorthok might face something he had never encountered before. A human who knew how to fight back. The arena was packed. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, all waiting to see blood. The noise was like thunder. They had come from across the galaxy to watch Vorthok kill another challenger. In the preparation rooms below, Ho sat alone, on a metal bench. The room was small and cold. Gray walls surrounded him. Single light hung from the ceiling. The door opened. Choi Soman walked in carrying her medical bag. "I came to check on you," she said. Her voice was soft but worried. "Fine. No, you're not." She sat next to him. "Your heart is beating too fast. Your hands are shaking." Deho looked at his hand. It was shaking just a little. He made a fist to stop it. "I've seen the files," Soman said. "I know what you used to be." Deho looked at her. Ji-Woo has a big mouth. He cares about you. Both do. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Why? For some strangers you've never met? Deho was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Long time ago, I had a team. Good soldiers. We went to a planet called Kepler-7 to get some prisoners out. Enemy territory. It's very dangerous. Soman listened without speaking. Things went wrong. We got the prisoners, but the enemy found us. Someone had to stay behind to make sure the others could escape. He touched his missing arm. I stayed in your arm. Bomb blast. But my team got out. All of them. His voice was hard. I promised myself I would never let good people die if I could stop it. Soman put her hand on his shoulder. Those prisoners upstairs, they're not your team. No, but they're still people. Who need help? The door opened again. A guard came in. He was a Kran, 9 feet tall, with muscles like steel cables. Time to go, human. Deho stood up. Soman grabbed his hand. Come back alive, she said. I'll try. The walk to the arena felt long. Guards walked on both sides of him. The noise got louder as they got closer. When they reached the entrance, Deho could feel the crowd's excitement. They wanted to see him die. The gate opened. The arena was huge. It was round, about 200 feet across. The floor was made of sand and rocks. There were places to hide, broken pillars, metal walls, old weapon pieces from other fights. Above, the crowd sat in rising circles of seats. Bright lights shined down from everywhere. Deho had to squint his eyes. On the other side of the arena, another gate opened. Vorthok walked out. The crowd went crazy. They screamed his name. Loved their champion. Vorthok was even bigger than Deho had thought. 12 feet tall, covered in dark green scales that looked like armor. His arms were thick as tree trunks. His hands ended in claws that could cut through steel. His head was long like a crocodile's, full of sharp teeth. But it was his eyes that made him truly scary. They were yellow and cold. They looked at Deho like he was already dead meat. Vorthok walked to the center of the arena. He moved like liquid death, smooth, fast, perfect. He had killed hundreds of fighters in this place. To him, this was just another day at work. Deho walked toward the center too. He looked small next to the giant alien. The crowd laughed and made jokes. Some threw things at him. In the VIP section, Boziktar sat with other crime lords. They were already counting their money. The betting was heavy against the human. Most people said he would die in less than 30 seconds. Let the fight begin, the announcer shouted. A bell rang. The fight was on. Vorthok stood still for a moment. He was studying his prey, like a cat watching a mouse. Then he smiled, showing all his teeth. Little human, he said. His voice was deep and rough. I will make this quick for you. The crowd expected Deho to run or beg for mercy. That's what prey did when faced with a predator. Instead, Deho started walking in a circle around Vorthok. His eyes moved constantly, checking the rocks, the walls, the lights above. He was not looking at Vorthok like prey looks at a predator. He was looking at him like a problem to solve. This confused Vorthok. In his 3 years as champion, no one had ever done this. Are you afraid to face me? Vorthok asked. I'm thinking, Deho said. The alien laughed. Thinking will not save you, Vorthok charged. He moved incredibly fast for something so big. His claws reached out to tear Deho apart, but Deho was not there anymore. At the last second, he rolled to the side as Vorthok rushed past. Deho grabbed a handful of sand and threw it at the alien's eyes. Vorthok roared and swung wildly. His claws hit nothing but air. The crowd was surprised. They'd never seen anyone dodge Vorthok's first attack. Deho was already moving. He ran to one of the broken pillars and climbed up it with his one arm. His body moved like he had done this 1,000 times before. Vorthok wiped the sand from his eyes. He was angry now. No prey had ever made him miss. Come down and die like you should, he yelled instead of coming down. Deho kicked a loose stone from the top of the pillar. It hit Vorthok in the head. It did not hurt the alien, but it surprised him. Then another stone hit him, and another. Vorthok charged at the pillar. His claws bit deep into the metal. He started climbing up to get Deho, but when he got to the top, Deho was gone again. He had jumped to another pillar 20 feet away. What is this? Vorthok growled. The crowd was getting confused too. This was not how fights usually went. The human was supposed to die quickly, not run around like a monkey. But Daho was not just running, he was learning. Every time Vorthok moved, Daho watched. How fast was he? How did he turn? What were his weak spots? In his mind, Daho was back on Kepler 7, back in enemy territory where one mistake meant death. Back where he had to use his brain instead of his muscles to survive. Vorthok jumped from pillar to pillar, chasing him. The alien was fast, but the pillars were old, and some were not steady. When Vorthok landed on one, it shook and almost fell. Daho saw this. He ran to a pillar that looked weak. When Vorthok jumped to follow him, Daho rolled away at the last second. Vorthok's weight hit the weak pillar, cracked and fell over, taking the alien with it. The crowd gasped. No one had ever knocked down their champion before. Vorthok hit the ground hard. Sand and dust flew everywhere. For a moment, he did not move. Then he stood up, shaking his head. He was not badly hurt, but he was very angry. His yellow eyes burned with rage. "Enough games," he roared. This time, when he charged, he did not run. Straight, he moved left and right, cutting off Daho's escape routes. His claws slashed through the air in deadly patterns. Daho dodged as best he could, but one claw caught his shirt and tore it. Another just missed his head. He was trapped against a wall. Vorthok raised both arms for the killing blow, but instead of trying to run, Daho did something that shocked everyone. He stepped forward into the attack as Vorthok's claws came. Down, Daho grabbed the alien's wrist with his one hand. He used Vorthok's own force against him, pulling him forward and down. Vorthok stumbled. For just a second, his head was low enough. Daho drove his knee up into Vorthok's throat. The alien made a choking sound and staggered back. It was the first time in 3 years that anyone had hurt him. The arena went completely quiet. 10,000. Aliens stared in shock. Vorthok touched his throat. When he pulled his hand away, there was blood on his claws. His own blood. He looked at Daho with new eyes. This was not prey. This was something else. Something he had never faced before. "Are you?" Vorthok asked. "I'm a soldier," Daho said. The alien circled him now, more careful. The easy kill was over. Now he had to actually fight in the crowd, aliens whispered to each other. This was not supposed to happen. Humans were weak. They died quickly and quietly, but this human had hurt their champion. This human was still alive. After 5 minutes, this human looked at Vorthok without fear. In the VIP section, Boss Ziktar was not smiling anymore. His investment was supposed to be dead by now. Down in the medical area, Salman watched on a small screen. Her heart was pounding, and she felt something else too. Pride. Her friend was showing the galaxy what humans could really do. In the communications center, Jiwoo had stopped all his work to watch. He was recording everything, sending signals. Across space, soon, humans on a dozen worlds would know what was happening here. Back in the arena, the fight was just beginning. Vorthok had learned that his prey could bite back. He would find out how hard. But Daho had learned things too. He knew how fast the alien could move. He knew where the weak spots were. Most importantly, he knew that Vorthok could be hurt. The real battle was about to start. 3 days had passed since the fight that shocked the galaxy. Daho sat in the medical center while Salmin cleaned his wounds. His body was covered in cuts and bruises, but he was alive. More importantly, he had done something no one thought. Possible he had survived 15 minutes against 4. The fight had ended when both fighters collapsed from exhaustion. Boss Ziktar had called it a draw, which meant Daho had to fight again. "Hold still," Salmin said as she put medicine on a deep cut on his shoulder. "It doesn't hurt much," Daho lied. "Everything hurts. You just don't show it." His face. "Giwu has been asking questions about you." "What kind of questions?" "Military questions?" He found some old records. The door opened, and Jiwoo walked in. He looked excited and scared at the same time. "I need to talk to you," he said to Daho. "I'm busy. It is important. I know who you are." Daho stopped moving. Salmin looked between the two men. "I found the military files," Jiwoo said. "It took me 2 days, but I found them." Kong Daho. "Service number 7731 Ghost." Special Operations Unit 7. Those files are classified, Deho said quietly. Not if you know where to look. You weren't just any soldier. You were Ghost 7, team leader. 43 successful missions behind enemy lines. Never lost a man until Kepler 7. Deho finished. Then I lost all of them. No, you didn't. I read the report. All 6 team members came home alive. You stayed behind to make sure they escaped. The enemy caught you and tortured you for 3 days before backup arrived. Solomon stopped working on Deho's wounds. 3 days? They wanted information about human military plans. He never talked. Not once. Ji Woo sat down. You're a war hero. I'm a broken soldier who failed his team. You saved your team. There's a difference. Deho stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the arena. Already workers. We're preparing for the next fight. Why does it matter? He asked. Because word is spreading. The human who fought Vorthok isn't just some maintenance worker. He's a trained killer. Other crime bosses want to see you fight. They're bringing their own champions. Soman finished packing her medical supplies. How many fights? Boss Ziktar says 5 more. If Deho wins all of them, his debt is clear. And if he loses one, he dies. That night, Deho could not sleep. He walked through the station's halls thinking. Near the detention cells, he heard voices, looked around the corner and saw something that made his blood cold. 3 alien guards were beating a human prisoner. The man was young, maybe 20 years old. He was trying to protect a small alien child who was crying. Please, the human said. She's just a kid. She didn't do anything wrong. Shut up, debt slave, one guard said. He kicked the human in the stomach. The alien child was from a species Deho didn't recognize. She had blue skin and large eyes. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old. Mama, she cried. I want my mama. Your mama is dead, the guard said. Now you belong to Boss Ziktar, just like this human trash. Deho had seen enough. He stepped out of the shadows. Let them. Go, he said. The guards turned around. When they saw who it was, they laughed. Look, it's the arena fighter. You think because you didn't die in one fight, you're tough? I think you should walk away, or what? We'll fight all 3 of us with one arm. The biggest guard pulled out. An electric stick. It sparked with blue energy. I'll make this simple, Deho said. His voice was very calm. You can leave now and pretend this never happened. Or you can try to stop me from taking these 2 somewhere safe. You're not taking anyone anywhere. The guard swung the electric stick at Deho's head. But Deho wasn't there when it arrived. He moved like water, flowing around the attack. His elbow hit the guard's throat. The alien dropped the stick and fell down, gasping for air. The second guard pulled out a knife. There was a cracking sound. The knife fell to the floor. The guard screamed and ran away. The third guard was smarter. He ran without fighting. Deho knelt down next to the human prisoner. Can you walk? I think so. The young man stood up slowly. Thank you. My name is Hansel. I'm Deho. What's your story? I came here looking for work. Got tricked into a bad contract. Now they say I owe them money I'll never be able to pay. Deho looked at the alien child. She had stopped crying, but she was still scared. What about her? Family. Was on a refugee ship. Pirates attacked it. She's the only survivor. Ziktar bought her from the pirates. Bought her for what? Hansel's face went dark. You don't want to know. Deho felt anger burning in his chest. It was the same anger he had felt on Kepler 7. When he saw what the enemy was doing to prisoners. Come with me, he said. He led them through the maintenance tunnels to a safe place he knew. It was a storage room that nobody used. There was food and water there. Stay here until I figure something out, he told them. Why are you helping us? Hansel asked. Because it's the right thing to do. The next day, news of the fight spread. Through the station, Wasikdar called Deho to his office again. You attacked my guards, the crime lord said. They were hurting innocent people. Nothing happens on this station without my permission. Those people belong to me. People don't. Belong to anyone. Ziktar's forearms moved in anger. You forget your place, human. You are here to fight in the arena, nothing else. Then let's make a new deal, Deho said. What kind of deal? For every fight I win, you free 5 debt prisoners. Humans and aliens both. Ziktar laughed. Why would I do that? Because I'm neat. Making you rich. Every time I fight, more people come to watch. More people bet money. The whole galaxy is talking about the human who hurt Vorthok. This was true. Ships were arriving every day, full of aliens who wanted to see the famous fighter. Ticket prices had doubled, and if you lose, you can do whatever you want with the prisoners. Ziktar thought about this. 5 prisoners for each win? 5 prisoners? Deal. But I choose which prisoners? No. I choose. 3 prisoners, and I choose. 4 prisoners, and we both choose to each. Ziktar smiled. You drive a hard bargain? For someone about to die? Very well. 4 prisoners per win. That evening, Deho went to the arena's holding area. This was where the fighters waited before their matches. He wanted to see his next opponent. In one of the cells, he found something unexpected. Vorthok was there, sitting alone in the dark. What are you doing here? Deho asked. The big alien looked up. Come here to think. Think about what? About our fight. About how you made me bleed. Vorthok stood up. Even through the bars. He was frightening. In 3 years, no one has ever hurt me. In my whole life, I have never met anything I could not kill. Now I wonder what I am missing. Vorthok came closer to the bars. How did you know to step into my attack? Prey always runs away. I'm not prey. No, you are something else. Something I do not understand. The alien's yellow eyes studied Deho's face. You could have killed me when I was down. Why didn't you? 'Cause you weren't trying to kill me. Anymore, you were just trying to win. I do not understand the difference. Deho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, maybe someday you will. As he walked away, Vorthok called after him. Human. What is your real name, Kung Deho? I will remember it. 2 days later, Deho faced his second opponent in the arena. This one was called Grickstar, insect-like creature with razor-sharp arms and the ability to spit acid. The crowd was even bigger than before. Word had spread across space about the human who could fight back. Some aliens came to see him win. Others came to see him finally die. The fight was harder than the one with Vorthok. Grickstar was faster and smarter. His acid burned through metal and stone, but Deho had learned from his first fight. He used everything around him, broken weapons, loose stones, even the lights above the arena. After 20 minutes, Grickstar lay unconscious on the sand. Deho stood over him, breathing hard but alive. The crowd went crazy. The impossible had happened again. In the VIP section, alien crime lords whispered to each other. This human was becoming a problem. He was showing other species that humans weren't as weak as everyone thought. But in the prisoner cells below the arena, four beings heard the crowd cheer and knew they would be free tomorrow. Unsol and the alien child were among them. After the fight, as Salman treated his new wounds, Deho felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. He wasn't just fighting to stay alive anymore. He was fighting to save others. 3 more fights, Salman said. 3 more? Think you can do it? Deho looked at his reflection in the medical center's window. His face was cut and bruised, but his eyes were clear. I have to, 'cause somewhere. In the station, there were people counting on him. People who had given up hope until they heard about the one-armed human who wouldn't quit. He had failed his team on Kepler 7, but he wouldn't fail these people. It's not while he could still stand. And fight, the war hero was back. Vorthok sat in his private quarters, staring at a screen. On it played videos of human soldiers fighting in old wars. He had been watching for 3 days straight, trying to understand what he had faced in the arena. His quarters were simple, just a bed, a table, and weapons on the walls. For 3 years, this had been enough. He ate, he slept, he killed in the arena. That was his life. But now everything felt different. The door chimed. Enter, he said. A small alien came in. It was Zep, his manager. Zep looked like a walking stick with eyes. Champion, you've been hiding in here for days. People are asking questions. What questions? They want to know if you are afraid of the human. Vorthok's claws dug into the metal table. Fear nothing. Then why do you watch these war videos? Why do you study this human species? Vorthok turned off the screen. Because I do not understand. What is there to understand? He got lucky. Next time you will kill him, will I? Vorthok stood up. He was so tall, his head almost touched the ceiling. At Mizep, in all your years managing fighters, have you ever seen Prey protect other? Prey, what do you mean the human saved prisoners? He fights to free others, not for himself. Could have escaped this station many times, but he stays. Why? Zep looked confused. I do not know. On my world, the strong eat the weak. It has always been this way. Strongest of us become leaders because we can kill anyone who challenges us. Vorthok walked to the window. Outside, ships came and went from the station. But this human. He is strong in a different way. You are confusing yourself, champion. Humans are weak. Everyone knows this. Are they? Vorthok turned back to his manager. I have been reading about their wars. Do you know what humans do when their kind are in danger? They run. They run toward the danger. They throw themselves into fights they cannot win to save others. They call it duty and honor. Words that have no meaning on my world. Zep shifted. Nervously, champion? Perhaps you should rest. Your next fight is tomorrow. Against who? Exmoor. From the ice world. He has killed 30 opponents without losing once. Vorthok nodded. Good. Maybe he will give me a real fight. But even as he said it, Vorthok found himself thinking about Deho. The human had 3 wins now. 12 prisoners had been freed. Each victory made the crowds bigger and the bets higher. More importantly, each victory showed the galaxy something new about humans. Down in the medical center, Salman was worried. Deho's latest fight had been his hardest yet. His opponent, a creature called Nexville, could move faster than the eye could see. The fight had lasted 30 minutes, and Deho had barely won. You're getting slower, she told him, as she cleaned a deep cut on his arm. I'm getting tired, he admitted, then quit. You've done enough. 12 people are free because of you. There are still hundreds more in those cells, and there will be hundreds more after them. You can't save everyone. Deho looked at her. Maybe not, but I can try. The door opened and Hansal came in. The young man looked much better now. He had been working in the communications center with Jiwoo, helping to send messages about the freed prisoners to their families. The little girl wants to see you, Hansal said. How is she? She's learning to speak human language. She calls you Big Brother Deho. Soman smiled. You hear that? You're a big brother now? I was always a big brother, Deho said quietly. To my whole team. Later that night, Deho visited the freed prisoners in their temporary shelter. It was a small area near the docks where cargo ships picked up supplies. Not fancy, but safe. The alien child, whose name was Lila, ran to him when she saw him. Blue skin was brighter now, and her large eyes sparkled with happiness. Big brother. I learned new words today. What words? Thank you. I love you, hero. Deho knelt down so he was at her eye level. You don't need to call me hero, Lila, but you are. You saved me. You saved all of us. Round them, the other freed. Prisoners nodded. They came from different worlds and looked nothing alike, but they all had the same expression when they looked at Deho. Hope. There's something else, Hansel said. Right. We've been getting messages from across the galaxy. Other humans have heard about what you're doing. They're calling you a symbol. A symbol of what? That humans aren't weak. That we can fight back. Deho felt uncomfortable with this. I'm just doing what needs to be done. That's what makes you special, said an old alien named Korvik. He was from a species that looked like walking trees. Most people see what needs to be done. Few actually do it. As Deho walked back to his quarters, he passed the arena. It was dark now, but tomorrow, it would be full of light and noise again. Tomorrow, he would face Crexmoor, the Ice World Killer. He was thinking about this when he heard footsteps behind him. Big footsteps. He turned around to see Vorthok walking toward him. The giant alien's yellow eyes glowed in the dim light. Have been looking for you, Vorthok said. What do you want? To ask you something, but not here. Come with me. They walked to an observation deck that looked out at the stars. It was quiet here. Most people were asleep. I've been studying your species, Vorthok said. And I do not understand you, any of you. The alien's voice was frustrated. On my world, survival is simple. Kill or be killed. Eat or be eaten. The strong rule, the weak serve. Sounds lonely. Lonely. Vorthok looked confused. What does that mean, being alone? Having no one who cares about you? Why would anyone care about me? I am strong. I do not need care. Deho leaned against the railing. Everyone needs someone who cares, even you, especially me. They stood in silence for a while, looking at the stars. Tell me, Vorthok said. Finally, why do you fight for others? What do you gain? Nothing, that's not why I do it. Then why? Deho thought about his answer. Because a long time ago, someone fought for me. My sergeant, when I was young and stupid. He could have left me behind when I got wounded, but he didn't. He carried me to safety. And now you do the same for others. I try to, but you gain nothing from it. I gain everything from it. Deho turned to look at the alien. When I save someone, I remember what it feels like to be human. Not just a killer or a soldier. A person who cares about other people. Vorthok was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was different. Softer. On my world, we have a legend. It says that long ago, before we became what we are now, we used to help each other. We used to care. What happened? War. Endless war. Only the killers survived. After 1,000 years, we forgot how to be anything else. Maybe it's not too late to remember. Maybe. Vorthok looked at his claws. I have killed so many. Does one stop being a killer? By choosing to protect instead of destroy? Is it that simple? Simple. Yes.
Yes.
No. The next morning, the arena was packed again. Word had spread that Crexmore was the deadliest fighter ever brought to the station. He came from a world where the temperature never rose above freezing. His people were like living ice, hard and sharp and cold. Crexmore stood 8 feet tall. His body looked like it was made of blue crystal. His fingers ended in razor-sharp points. When he breathed, frost came out of his mouth. This human pest ends today, he said in a voice like breaking ice. In the crowd, aliens from across the galaxy watched. Some cheered for Deho. Others wanted to see him finally die. In the VIP section, crime lords from a dozen worlds placed their bets. But in the fighters section, something unusual was happening. Vorthok was there, watching quietly. Other arena fighters had joined him. Word had spread about his conversations with the human. Others were curious. The fight began. Crexmore moved like a blizzard, fast and deadly. His crystal fists could shatter stone. His breath could freeze blood in the veins. But Deho had learned from every fight. He moved like smoke, always just out of reach. When Crexmore tried to freeze him, Deho rolled behind heated metal from old battles. When the ice creature charged, Deho led him into traps. The fight lasted 40 minutes. When it ended, Crexmore lay shattered on the arena floor. Deho stood over him, bleeding but alive. The crowd exploded with noise. Some cheered, some cursed, but in the fighters section, something historic happened. Vorthok stood up and began to clap. One by one, other fighters joined him. Creatures, who had never shown respect to anyone, were applauding a human in his office. Boss Ziktar watched this and felt cold fear in his hearts. The human was changing things. He was making predators think, making them question. This could not be allowed. To continue, that night, Ziktar made a call to his contacts in the criminal underworld. I need the best killer you have, he said. Money is no object. What kind of killer? The voice on the other end asked. The kind that enjoys causing pain? The kind that never shows mercy? The kind that will make an example that no one will ever forget? I know just the creature, but it will cost you. Pay it. As Ziktar ended the call, he looked out his window at the arena below. Tomorrow, the human would fight again. And this time, he would not survive. Because some changes were too dangerous to allow. The ship arrived at Nexus Station in the early morning hours, was black as space, and carried no markings. The creature that stepped off it moved like death itself. Morgoth was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. He stood 9 feet tall, but seemed bigger because of the fear he brought with him. His skin was dark red, like dried blood. His forearms ended in claws that could cut through battle armor. His head had no eyes, just holes where eyes should be. But he could see everything, hear everything, smell fear from across a room. He came from a world where his species had eaten everything else, then started eating each other. Only the worst of the worst survived. Morgoth was the worst of all. Boss Ziktar met him at the docking bay. "Welcome to Nexus Station," the crime lord said. "I trust your journey was comfortable." Morgoth said nothing. He just breathed slowly. Tasting the air, "I smell humans," he said finally. His voice sounded like grinding stone. "Yes, one in particular. He has become... a problem. Show me." They walked through the station. Aliens moved out of their way quickly, even the toughest. Criminals could feel the wrongness that followed Morgoth. This was not just a killer. This was something that enjoyed making others suffer. In Ziktar's office, they watched videos of Deho's fights. For wins, Ziktar said, he has never been beaten. Worse, he is changing how other species think about humans. Morgoth watched. The screen with interest. He fights well for prey. He's not just prey. He is making predators question their nature. Yesterday, Warthog applauded him. Other fighters are starting to show respect for a human. Respect? Morgoth laughed. It was a terrible sound. "I will remind them what happens to prey that forgets its place." "There are conditions," Ziktar said carefully. "If you win, I pay you. But the human has negotiated that if he wins his 5th fight, all debt prisoners go free, not just for all of them." "How many? 347? Morgoth smiled, showing teeth like broken glass. "It will not matter. The human will be dead. Make it painful. Make it last. I want everyone to see what happens to those who challenge the natural order." That afternoon, word spread through the station. The greatest killer in the galaxy had come to fight the human. The arena sold out in minutes. Ships arrived from dozens of worlds, carrying aliens who wanted to see history, one way or another. In the medical center, Deho sat quietly while Somin checked his wounds from the last fight. They were healing well, but she was worried about something else. "I heard about your opponent," she said. "I heard too. Morgoth has never lost. He's killed over 200 fighters. Some say he eats parts of his victims. Probably true." Somin stopped working and looked at him. "You're not scared?" "I'm terrified," Deho said simply. "But scared doesn't matter. What matters is that 300 people get to go free. If I win. And if you lose, they all stay slaves forever. Then I won't lose." The door opened, and Jiwoo came in. Behind him walked Warthog. The big alien had to duck to fit through the doorway. "He wanted to see you before the fight," Jiwoo said. "So Dash Min moved protectively in front of Deho, but the human put his hand on her shoulder. "It's okay," he said. Warthog approached slowly. In his hands he carried something wrapped in cloth. "I brought you a gift," the alien said. "What is it?" Warthog unwrapped the cloth. Inside was a weapon, a long knife made from his own shed scales. The blade was sharp enough to cut through almost anything. "From my world," Warthog said. "It is given to warriors who have earned respect." Deho took the weapon. It felt perfectly balanced in his hand. "Why?" he asked. "Because you taught me something. Strength is not about who you can kill. It is about who you choose to save. You learn that fast." "I had a good teacher." Warthog looked down at the human. "If you die tonight, what you taught me dies with you." "No, it lives in everyone who saw it, everyone who chooses to protect instead of destroy." Warthog nodded slowly. "Then I will remember." As the alien left, Salman shook her head. "I never thought I'd see an apex predator give a weapon to someone else." "Things change," Deho said. "People change, even monsters, especially monsters." Evening, the arena was fuller than it had ever been. Aliens from across the galaxy filled every seat. The noise was like thunder. But underneath the excitement, there was something else. fear. Everyone could feel that tonight was different. In the VIP section, crime lords and politicians watched nervously. If the human won, it would change everything. It would prove that humans were not the weak prey species everyone believed them to be. In the freed prisoners section, 347 beings watched in silence. Their freedom depended on what happened in the next hour. Deho walked into the arena carrying Vorthok's knife. The crowd saw the weapon and gasped. Everyone knew what it meant when a predator gave a weapon to another fighter. On the other side, Morgoth entered like a shadow made real. He moved without sound. His empty eye sockets seemed to look into everyone's soul. The crowd grew quiet. Even the bravest aliens felt afraid. Tonight, the announcer said, we witnessed the ultimate test. Predator versus prey. Natural order versus chaos. Let the final fight begin. The bell rang. Morgoth did not charge like other fighters. He walked slowly toward Deho, savoring the moment. He wanted the human to feel fear, wanted him to run. But Deho stood his ground. He had faced death before, on Kepler 7, and in 4 arena fights. He was still afraid, but he would not run. Little human, Morgoth said, I will make your death last for hours. You can try. Morgoth moved then, faster than thought. His forearms struck like lightning. But Deho was already moving too, rolling away and slashing with a scale knife. The blade cut across Morgoth's leg. First blood to the human. The crowd exploded. With noise, no one had ever drawn blood from Morgoth so quickly. But the creature just laughed. Good. I was worried this would be boring. The fight became a dance of death. Morgoth was stronger and faster than anything Deho had faced. For arms attacked from all directions, his claws tore through stone and metal. But Deho used everything he had learned, every trick, every tactic, every bit of knowledge from his military training. He turned the arena into a battlefield using every piece of cover, every shadow, every advantage he could find. For 20 minutes, they fought. Deho cut Morgoth 7 more times, but the creature seemed to feel no pain. Meanwhile, Morgoth's claws found their mark again and again. Soon, Deho was bleeding from a dozen wounds. You fight well for prey, Morgoth said. The prey always dies in the end. He grabbed Deho with 2 arms and lifted him off the ground. His other 2 arms raised their claws for the killing strike. The crowd held its breath. It was over. The human had fought bravely. But nature always won. Then something happened that no one expected. Vorthok jumped down from the fighter section into the arena. The crowd gasped. In 3 years as champion, Vorthok had never interfered in another fight. Arena rules said that anyone who entered an ongoing fight would be killed immediately. But Vorthok did not attack Morgoth. Instead, he walked to where the creature held Deho and did something that shocked the galaxy. He knelt, not in submission, not in defeat, but in recognition of something greater than pure killing power. The arena went completely silent. 10,000. Aliens stared in disbelief. Morgoth was so surprised he loosened his grip. Deho dropped to the ground and rolled away. Hey, what are you doing? Morgoth demanded. Choosing, Vorthok said simply. Then another fighter jumped into the arena. Then another, one by one. The greatest killers in the galaxy came down from their section and knelt beside Vorthok. Creatures who had never shown respect to anyone were kneeling for a 1-armed human. Morgoth looked around in confusion. This had never happened before. In his world, the strong ruled and the weak obeyed. There was no middle ground. You are all weak, he screamed. I will kill you all. He charged at Vorthok. But the alien champion was ready. Together with the other fighters, he surrounded Morgoth. They did not attack him. They simply stood their ground. This is not how things work, Morgoth raged. Predators do not protect prey. We are not protecting prey, Vorthok said. You're protecting a teacher, someone who showed us a better way to be strong. Faced with a united front of fighters who had learned new values, Morgoth found himself outnumbered for the first time in his life. He could kill 1 or 2 of them, but not all. They would not back down. The crowd watched in amazement as the ultimate predator was stopped not by superior force, but by something completely new. predators choosing to protect instead of destroy. In the VIP section, Boss Ziktar saw his empire crumbling. If predators could choose mercy over killing, if they could learn to protect the weak, then his whole business model was finished. Security, he screamed. Kill them all. But his guards looked at what was happening in the arena and made their own choice. One by one, they put down their weapons. The crime lord's empire fell apart in minutes. Word spread through the station like wildfire. The debt prisoners were free. The arena fights were over. The natural order had changed forever. Later, as medical teams treated the wounded, Deho sat with Vorthok in the quiet arena. What happens now? The alien asked. Now you go home, Deho said. You teach your people what you learned here, and you... I think I'll stay for a while, help the freed prisoners find their families, maybe train some new teachers. Vorthok nodded. Teachers of what? That true strength is not about who you can kill. It's about who you choose to save. In the weeks that followed, ships left Nexus Station carrying stories that spread across the galaxy. The story of the human who taught apex predators to kneel, not in submission, but in recognition of a strength greater than tooth and claw. On dozens of worlds, predator species began to question their old ways. Some still chose the path of killing, but others remembered ancient legends about caring for the weak, about honor and duty and sacrifice. Deho never returned to Earth. He stayed on Nexus Station, which became something new, a place where different species learned to work together instead of preying on each other. Years later, when young aliens asked him why he had risked everything for strangers, he always gave the same answer. Because someone once did the same for me. And because the strongest thing any of us can do is choose to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The arena still stood, but now it was used for different kinds of contests, tests of skill and intelligence rather than death matches. And in the center, where so much blood had been spilled, stood a simple monument. It showed a human kneeling beside wounded friends of many species. The inscription read, "True strength is not in conquest, but in sacrifice." The galaxy was learning that sometimes the most powerful thing a predator could do was choose not to kill. And it all started with one broken soldier who refused to let others suffer alone.